Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
All right, we're live. Mr. Clary, how you doing?
I'm in a bad mood.
Oh, well, we like that and we hate it, but what happened?
Well, you're gonna like it, and then so I have a problem. So some people might say I have LEMS Pro handling.
Having some.
So after this, and I eat a homemade pork meal for my girlfriend. Do we take the convertible out into the Black Hills and cruise around on this beautiful night, or do we sit in a hot tub, or do we sit on swinging chairs that now that it thankfully isn't fucking raining, we can sit and enjoy the swing and you look out the backyard, or do I play video games? These are Pros LEMS Handling Plus. And
that sounds like a lot to deal with all at once.
Very upset, very frustrated.
I think you're going to end up playing video games.
That kind of has become the pattern. Like you got a pattern down in Dallas, right?
Oh, yeah,
you kind of do something. I mean, busy season withstanding, but I'd imagine you wake up, you have your coffee and whatever. You try your 8th time to get your driver's license, and you fail at the DMV, and then you're like, oh, what do I do for the afternoon? And then the GF works the real job, and then I don't know what you have problems, LEMS Pro handling, and then you do some kind of and then you watch TV, I guess, at night. So I have so many. I do.
Here's the problem, Clary. You just need to understand what it takes to be a house cat. You see, there is nothing better than doing all your work at the beginning of the year, and so you get all that done. She can work the real job. Meanwhile, I'll just take care of things around here as best I can while keeping my physical fitness up.
You should write a book called The Life of the House Cat. And then like the subtitle being the stay-at-home husband, or being the parent, something like that. Something the soccer mom male, the stay-at-home house cat. And then just this luxurious life of how to do it. I think that'd be a great book.
If only I knew how to actually fix things instead of bribing other people to do it with either services.
There's this thing called YouTube.
Yes.
Did I tell you I'm going to detail one of my engines?
No, you did not.
Yes. So I have, as you know, I have somewhat of an older classic car. It's not a fancy one, but it's one that's kind of charming. And I got it for a good deal. It was like $7,000. So Cappy wasn't blowing a shit ton of money. But it's older, and it's got a lot. You open up that engine bay and a little bit of rust and just dirty. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to clean this up because I do want to use this to learn to work on, and I have. But I think part of that would be just having a nice detail. Now, let me ask you this, Mr. Elkins.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why engine bays get dirty?
I would imagine just by the process of the engine running, grime builds up. Is that correct?
That's what I thought. And that's to an extent true, especially if there's leaks. What really is, especially you and I being Northerners in the Union, it's just the rain and the snow and the sludge getting kicked up inside there. So if you go down south where there is no rain, the engines stay very clean. They might get dusty. Hire Dad's Raymond's to watch YouTube.
That's Raymond's dad. Yeah. Good to see you home front forge.
So because now I don't deal with winter, I've noticed that my car engines stay a lot cleaner.
Oh,
I was like, boy, I thought they were doing something different. Like they put shields into my car. I'm like, did they put shields in? It's an awfully clean engine. It's like, nope, we just never drive them in winter anymore. And so if you're not driving it in winter, I was thinking, well, then you might as well clean the engine bay because it's not going to get as dirty. It'll just get dusty. So I think this is going to be a good expenditure of time.
You're going to do that tomorrow?
No, I'm going to do it slowly over time because there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm going to remove some of the metal pieces. I'm going to brush them off and paint them. You ever see like at Mecum or Mecum or a car show where they pop the hoods? It's all pristine and nice. That's what I'm aiming. Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. So it's going to be a slow procedural. I'm going to take this part out, sand it down, put primer on it, paint it if it takes paint. Otherwise, it's just a lot of wires that you got to clean. The engine block needs to be cleaned, probably repainted, and you got to remove a lot of stuff to do it. So it's going to be a slow but consistent process. I'd imagine just something to kind of punch at for a while if I want to go work in the garage. I think it'll probably take 2 years. But who knows? Maybe it'll be easier than I think. But this is going to be very tedious.
Well, I mean, forget gumball machines. Now we're hitting the big leagues, huh?
Hey, that gumball machine, I got my gumballs in the mail. And
Oh,
now it's all filled up. And it's very cool. I should take a picture and put it on the internet, but I got my gumball machine all ready to go. And it looks like $1 million. It looks great.
Clary's really proud of this gumball machine that he recently restored. It looks brand new. So on that note, real quick, so I can cheers you. This is called Daybreak. It's from my favorite brewery here in Fort Worth. It's called Martin House.
Whoa, hold on.
It's a Whataburger.
I was about to say, isn't there a lawsuit happening right now over that?
Oh, you mean about the Whataburger?
Yeah. Does Whataburger not care? I mean, come on.
Well, it's flipped upside down.
Come on, really? If I take PricewaterhouseCoopers and Library, just flip it upside down, and then I start running my own accounting firm, you think they're going to care?
So we were actually at this brewery this time last week. By the way, cheers to Mr. Starr. He's a friend I made here who is a fan of you and also a fan of me, and he's going into accounting. So he had all kinds of good. But anyway, so we were at the brewery, and God, I love that place. And the candidate wanted to get me this shirt, and I kind of said what you said. I'm like, isn't that a Whataburger shirt? And won't they get in trouble for that? But no. Ooh.
Well, cheers. Is this a real beer?
It is. It's called 4 Grain Breakfast Beer. It's only 5.2%, so it's not like super strong, but it's just a lager. I was like, there's no frou-frou tonight.
Are you going to be happy? Like, okay, the 90s had its shtick where they had dopey names for their bands. Are you going to be okay when we stop having dopey names for beer?
Yeah.
4 Grain I think it's over, it's okay if they stop that now.
You're more right than you know, because, and you actually did a video on this, I think a couple months ago or something. Craft beer is a dying business.
Yes.
Like, it's being replaced by hard seltzer, THC water, which is gross. And, all the other types, even non-alcoholic types of drinks that you sometimes
my people are coming through. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a dying breed. I'm just trying to live it up while I still can.
Well, you know why they had to go belly up? Because Ray sobered up. He was drinking all the beer and all the booze, and now he ain't doing it no more. Dude, this happened at the poker game. Like, I was offering to buy people drinks. Like, a ton of guys went sober.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's weird. There's like one guy who still drinks out of a significant amount of guys who play poker. And I'm like, what the hell happened? It's kind of odd. So I think for health choices, I guess.
I mean, it's like you save a lot of money by not going out and spending it all on booze. I mean, let's face it, it's really a waste of money to go out and drink beer. At home is one thing, but going out, yeah, that's a waste.
I'll take the opposite side of that argument. To go out was the main reason, and drinking just happened to be. Wait, did I cut out?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I will take the opposite side of that argument and say that the point of going out, that was to go out and hang out with people. The drinking happened to be incidental. But yeah, you're right. I saved enough money to pay for my solar panels on 4 years of sobriety.
And I got to take a good write-off for you on that one. Good credit.
Yeah, that was.
So we got a good topic I want to go over tonight, kind of a funny one. But first, I need to ask, because I got a couple of stories. How was your Memorial Day holiday? Did you do anything?
I flew to Vegas because I left a hard drive there and I had to fetch it.
Oh, that's right.
And then I came back Memorial Day. I don't know. It was rainy. We didn't do anything. I played video games, I think.
Did you fly Spirit? No.
Flew Allegiant. Spirit doesn't come to Rapid City, which I'm very sad about.
I got to tell you how ours was. I'm going to start with what happened Friday night. So a week ago tomorrow. All right. You have actually met the people I'm going to be talking about in this story. You met them a long, long time ago. It was like one of the first times you rolled through down here.
Is this where everyone decided to stay up and watch 80s movies and drink hard alcohol and I went to bed early?
You know, you're half right on the hard
Okay.
alcohol part because you're gonna like this one. So Friday night, candidate invites her friend and her friend's husband over, and I've hung out with them. I like them, you know, so have you. And so they come over. We're watching that hockey game for my crappy ass team that's about to be eliminated, and I noticed the husband is kind of going a little bit heavy with the alcohol that they brought over. Like he's really boozing it up, and he has a reputation for being a bit of a lightweight. Even though he's like 6'3" and you know big guy,
Yeah.
he's still kind of a lightweight for some reason. So speaking of my frou-frou beers, okay, so we get to this one that I had purchased the previous night at Martin House. It was called Donuts, like a donut tasting beer. Here's the problem: it was 15% ABV, okay, and these are big beers. I mean, like I brought a bunch of these home because it tasted really good, and so I grabbed one, and we're gonna call him Tom. You know, the guy who's already plastered. Tom was like, can I have a taste of that? So I gave him a taste of it. He loved it, and he really, really wanted one. So I'm like, all right, are you sure, man? You look like you've had quite a bit. You know, you look really drunk right now. He's like, yeah, man, I can handle it.
Yeah.
So his wife cuts in and is like, Tom, you drink that, and I guarantee you're going to regret that, and I'm going to be the one who has to clean up your shit, so to speak. Okay. So he insisted and I gave it to him. And so after this, we're all outside. You've been to the patio back here. We're all out, you know, on the deck.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I've
it's a
been on
nice
the
night.
nice patio. It is a nice
Yeah,
patio.
it is a nice
It's a
patio.
very
And it
nice
was actually
patio,
a pretty nice night, you know, last Friday. So so as Tom is finishing this up, all of a sudden he goes like this. And he's passed out. So we're all having kind of a good laugh about this. We're like, aha, well, you know, he's got a low tolerance and everything. And so I'm just sitting there. I'm talking to the two ladies, and Tom, he kind of wakes up for a second and he goes, "Can you push the table out of the way?" Because you know he was in a chair.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, he probably just wants to stretch his feet out. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I remove it for him. I walk back over to where the ladies are, you know, kind of by the hot tub. And all of a sudden the candidate goes, like she can see Tom, you know, from the distance. And she goes, "Is he sweating?" Because apparently he was just like really, really, really
Yeah.
sweating.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to tell you next?
Well, you just threw up, I'd imagine.
Like everywhere. I mean, I'm talking, dude, like the candidate had just cooked, you know, brisket fajitas, brisket tacos. And I
Oh.
mean, oh my God, man, I have never seen nor heard so much. It was just absolutely disgusting.
He's a big guy though, right?
Like, yeah, huge, really big dude. Not fat, but just, you know, big.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, so it's just like projectile vomit come out of a 6'3" guy.
Yes,
Yeah,
projectile.
yeah, sure.
So
It's not like a little wiener dog puking, just whack.
no,
This is just like a big
was,
dude. All right.
yeah, this was pretty bad. And so you know, luckily it's the candidate in healthcare and her friend in healthcare. So I just got to be like, well, I don't have to deal with vomit. You guys make sure he's okay. And the long and short of it is that his wife was just being merciless, man. Like I'm talking like not just like making fun of him, but mean. Because he kept like heaving and he was like, you know, yeah. He'd be like, ugh. And he'd be like, yeah, you hear that? You freaking bum. You know, you waste of space. Yeah, I tried to tell you.
Good.
Apparently this is happening.
Good. I like that. I like that. I'm on the side of the wife on this one.
Oh my God, she was merciless. I'm talking, she like called up their kids and like did a FaceTime chat so they could see the husband laying there.
Do you understand why she would do that?
I absolutely understand why she's doing it. Yeah.
Right.
It's more I felt. Go ahead.
Is that acceptable behavior on his part at a party?
It's not, and that's why she's doing it. And apparently, unbeknownst to me, this had happened before a few times, and I didn't know that. So this is probably the best. So, okay, finally he gets finished throwing up. Lucky for us, the candidate had just gotten a power washer. So we had to hose this dude off. We had to power wash the whole, you know, concrete part of the patio. He had to exit through the gate because no way he was coming through the house.
Oh, he was all over his body, huh?
Yeah, like it was just awful. And here is perhaps the best and worst part of the story. Did you know that the candidate has, it was originally a bird camera because she had like a bird feeder back there, but it was really more just like a security camera for the
Yeah.
patio in the backyard.
She caught
So
it on tape.
the next day I went back to see if all of this got recorded because it only starts recording when it senses motion.
Yeah.
The whole thing is on videotape.
That is awesome.
Everything from him about to just, to her just berating the shit out of him is all on there.
You know what? If you got both their permissions to put that on YouTube, I bet you that would make a lot of money.
It may happen because I hate saying this because I don't want to see somebody in pain, but it was really entertaining to go back and look at that the next day. You see me in the back, like, I'm not dealing with this. You guys deal with it. And then, the wife berating him, and the candidate was the only one who was showing a little bit of compassion here. Like, do you want some ice cubes? This. That was the first story for Memorial Day. The second one is a little bit more in yours and mine wheelhouse, okay? Although maybe that was in your wheelhouse, that first story. So then Saturday, we're all here, or it's just me and the candidate here. And at around noon, we get this knock on the door. And so I'm in here doing something, and she answers the door. And it's this guy who really doesn't speak good English at all. And he's basically gesturing towards her trees in the front yard. And he's trying to communicate something with her. Yeah. So she grabs me. And this dude was going around the neighborhood saying, hey, your trees need to be cut. I will cut your trees. And, she didn't speak Spanish, so he couldn't communicate. So I finally got out there. I do my best to understand what he's saying. It was funny because when I came out, he's like, you speak Spanish? And I'm C. And he's like, oh, Dios mío. And he starts,
maybe you should live in a Spanish-speaking country. That's just me. I wonder why the immigrants don't do too well in a country where English is the first language. But anyway, continuing on.
Listen to this. So we get solicitors here all the time. Do you want to change your power plan? Crap like that. This guy was on point because, while I was talking to him, he basically relayed, I will cut down like the trees that need to be trimmed. I can do it in about 20 to 30 minutes. And we negotiated a price. It was a very competitive price. Yeah. And so we talked about it for a minute. We're like, yeah, sure. She's needed somebody to do this. He would only accept cash. Gee, I wonder why, but he would only accept.
You'd vote Democrat, I bet.
Let me just tell you, this guy's not here legally. I think that's
no.
Yeah, no. But here's what got me. So she went to the bank to go withdraw some cash. I pitched in a little bit, and the guy's wife and daughter popped out of the truck, and they with him were trimming all of the trees. They were so efficient. They were professional. They did a magnificent job, and I'm just like, wow. And so I went out for a run later, a walk, whatever. He got so many people to buy into this by doing this. So
real quick, did he have a flyer or anything? Like, so he could do? No, he just went door. A flyer would help him out, though.
I don't know how he's doing this without like speaking English. Like, luckily I could translate for him, but he got all these people to say yes. And he was collecting. We're talking more than a couple $100 here to do this. And he's doing this, 20 and 30 minutes. He's got free labor. Yeah.
Do any white kids come around to offer to rake up your yard?
And that was my point of the story. Yeah, was everyone's like, well, gig work, what should I do? 1099. If this guy who doesn't even speak English can go door to door and do this, why can't other people do it?
I got a couple friends who have kids now that are coming of the age that they're physically able to work, like 12 or 13. I'm like, dude, just shovel the freaking driveways like we did back in the 80s and the 70s. And you're not charging $3 or $5. Dude, charge for a sizable yard, charge 75 because people don't want to do it. Some
ice, yeah. No, and that's why I wanted to tell you the story, because it's like, you talk about this on your channel, and I know Raymond actually talks about it on his channel about entrepreneurship and getting out of the whole W-2 situation. Mm. And I just thought that was brilliant. I had to salute the guy because he wasn't even really putting on the hard sell. I mean, he couldn't speak English. He's just like, your trees desperately need to be trimmed. They're almost touching the sidewalk. Let me do it. And we're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Done.
No, it just simple entrepreneurship like that.
Yeah.
Did you because you were in Africa, in Honduras when you were growing up.
Yeah.
So you didn't have that classical American experience where you'd grab your
No.
shovel with your siblings, a snow day would come in, you go door to door, and hey, for $5 we'll shovel the driveway. You never had that, or raking yard. We used to do that. Yeah, and you'd make okay money. But now, because nobody does it, including the adults, and if the adults do it, what kind of people are landscapers now, Chad? The adult landscapers, what kind of people are they?
I'm going to say they're ones that are cash basis and not paying
No.
taxes,
What
but you were going somewhere else with
What
this.
quality and caliber are they?
Well, I don't think they're the younger generation. Is that what you were getting at?
Nope,
Or?
nope. I got a 35-year-old lawn maintenance landscaper type. They fall under
Really?
what? No, I don't. I do it myself. Why do I not hire the 35-year-old, Master Landscapers LLC out of Podunk, Wyoming? Why do I not hire them?
2 reasons.
Huh?
One, you know how to do it. And you can probably do a better job. Is that one of the reasons?
That's one of the reasons.
And 2, because you don't need to pay somebody else to do it when you can just do it yourself. Did I get
No,
it?
you're not even close. Because they are cousin fuckers, okay?
Oh.
I am not joking.
Okay.
A responsible 13-year-old who shows up on time and does the job right, perhaps under the tutelage of his father for a little bit, will do a better job than the pro landscapers out here in the United States. That's why the Mexican dude, I presume Mexican, the Latino dude,
Yeah.
got it because he did it. He did it right off. I mean, it was the same day, I presume.
Oh, yeah. It took 20 minutes. Right.
Bam, 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 bam. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that, I wish, okay, yeah, have a work program for those guys. But yeah, you're not going to find Tanner and Madison schlepping around a shovel in January to offer to shovel your driveway anymore. You'll get Jose and Pablo.
Right.
But you're not. No, it's just, so I kind of, I'm kind of proud of the guy just to follow legal channel procedures, perhaps.
He actually, he must have made thousands of dollars on that Saturday because I was out and about and he was just going from house to house and doing the work. And people were standing outside.
People probably saw him doing it and they said, hey, you want to do mine, buddy? And he says, sure, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I hope he made a shit ton of money.
I believe he did. So I just thought somebody would appreciate that story because it's I don't know. I respect it. I do.
You gotta respect the hustle.
All right.
Well, I like the fact he had his family with, the wife and the daughter were like, yep, you're working. Yeah, hell yeah. No, I'm going to go major in English because I'm a privileged white bitch from Edina. It's like, nah, look at it. Right. Juanita's up there in the trees with her old man. That's pretty cool.
And they were good at it and efficient. It was pretty incredible. And I was standing there watching it the whole time. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. You with your accounting degree, your master's in accounting degree, sitting, were you sipping tea with a straw hat on a rocking chair, watching people do manual labor? What was that like? Were you traumatized by it? What?
It was very traumatizing. No, I later read because I was curious. I was like, well, what's a good rate for tree trimming? And I saw that we got a good deal. And I also saw that it actually takes some specialization to do this. Like not anybody can just hop off the fence and, start. You have to know what you're doing. I had
to prune trees in the Southern Command because there's citrus growing on them. And there is a technique and you got to thin them out and you got to look at the branch and which way do you want to go? Yeah. You can't just go in there, start hacking. I mean, if it's about to fall on a property, yes. But yes, it's a little bit more than you just come in there with an axe and start cutting.
Yeah. So I mean, I was impressed by it. And I want to actually clear the super chats real quick because I'm going to talk about yeah. So now we got some people in the house. So let's just get these read real quick.
Raymond, thoughts and minds for $5. All I want to do is drink beer for breakfast. The replacements. I want to drink Rumplemans. Well, you don't have to drink Rumplemans. I want to drink Rumplemans.
So this November will be the 10-year anniversary from when I first met Clary. And what did we proceed to do? We get our asses drunk. Oh, that's
right.
D-runk.
One night, and it wasn't that bad. I had a little bit of a hangover.
And Clary got to meet Cuddlewooks that night, too.
Why do you have a picture of your girlfriend in lingerie on your phone? Shut the fuck up.
And with that, an enemy was made.
She's not even an enemy. I don't have to lift a finger. Hey, speaking of people we don't like, Athel Decu, $5. Blathmick Wukong is, dude. He's not. I'm fine with this. So I bought a game called Black Myth Wukong.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's for people who are unemployed. Okay,
Really?
that's what these super hard video games are for. Is these and Athem's like, oh, it's gonna be too hard for you, and it was. It's too hard for me. So so that's what he says. Black Myth Wukong is greater than Cappy. Aaron needs to go play Hello Kitty Adventures. I suggest Animal Crossing, but that might be too hard and complicated for him. I bought Pirate Yakuza. I'm having a blast with it. It's much easier.
Pirate Yakuza sounds Japanese.
You're a Yakuza agent who washes up on an island in the Hawaiian chain, and you have amnesia, and there happens to be pirates modern day. You take over a pirate ship, you become a pirate Yakuza, and it's awesome. It's just stupid fun.
Yeah, you're playing video games after this. You ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Homeschool time, $2. Maintenance is a great bid-ass. Teach the youth. Yes.
It seems like there's a dying breed of people who know how to do it. So, yeah.
Homeschool time, $2 again. Was at Walfart earlier. Obese slob uniform present. Yep.
Oh, God. The one a mile down the road from here is just brutal to go shop at every day.
Are any of them nice?
No. Nuh-uh.
No.
You know, there's no Walmarts in Chicago because they couldn't handle all the shoplifting.
Oh, yeah. No, I knew that. Yeah. Raymond, thoughts of mine's $5. All the lawn services, bro, have a God complex and six-pack in the backseat of their 90,000 F-250. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
A young kid, 14 years old, with some equipment and gear, could just mop the floor, make 50 to 60 grand a year. You can make as much as an engineer before you graduate from high school. It's simple. Why? Okay, it's not simple. It's a lot of hard work, but it's simpler than going to college.
I just couldn't believe how easy it was for him to just knock on the door and people do it.
Beard is death, $5. I drink about 8 beers at the bar in the hopes my drunken eyes can make these fat fucks look Cappy hot, but they end up looking like Elkins. Beer is a waste. That's why you guys switch to Rumplements, man. Rumplements.
Rumplements. Well, thank you, Beer is death, for that nice comment.
Homeschool time, $2. Subscribe to Super Chad Elkins CPA and refer to others.
Thank you, Homeschool Time, my original moderator.
Sailing Semantis, 10 generous dollars. My second business when I was young was tree servicing, climbing, topping, trimming, hazardous removal, all ropes and saddles. It was a lot of fun. Short life expectancy, though.
So he has moved into tax prep, and he worked at H&R Block this past tax season. And like I said, sometime in July when Red Hawk's back, I'm going to get you and him and some others back on a panel. And we'll have
I'd like to know how my employees are doing. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Perfect segue now that we've got through those. So the reason, obviously, the guy wanted us to pay him in cash was because he's not going to report any of that, obviously.
No.
And I thought this would be a good time to go over people who want to cheat on their taxes. Okay, this is what I've been getting a lot of emails about this. I wasn't originally going to do a stream, but Clara, you know how things work with me. I get done with tax season in April, and then May and June are typically just people emailing me for consultations, whether it be how to get into the field, you know, S corps and things like that. And then just random people off the internet who are looking for a tax accountant. And I got to tell you, man, for the last couple of weeks, it has just been one email after the other. People aren't using these exact words, but they're basically asking me, can I start cheating on my taxes now?
Why now? Why are they emailing you this time of year?
I was just going to ask you if you wanted to guess why this is happening. I can tell you why, but think about it.
So, how long has it been going on?
Just for about since tax season ended. So yeah, about a month and a half, but really for the last 2 months, I've been getting emails like this. What went on in the last few months that have really led people to just feel like they can cheat on their taxes now? Think back through February and March, you know, the new administration came to power.
Tariffs? I don't know. I don't know what, I haven't paid attention to Trump that much. So,
well, it's a few reasons. Doge was the big one because you remember what happened with that. They basically laid off a shit ton of IRS agents.
Okay.
With Doge.
All right.
And that's been in the news. The IRS had been stripped. You know, they had funding and they all took it back. There was forced retirement from all these people. Remember how they had that voluntary?
Yeah. Okay. So the IRS took a hit in terms of its staff numbers. All right.
Yeah. And then I guess it just wasn't Oh, Matt Deep's in the chat. What's up, dude? Yeah, it is because of the IRS layoffs, but also think about like it got more in the news. I don't know if it was mainstream how bad things were at the IRS, but when Doge came around, everyone's like, yeah, the technology is stuck in 1987. So all of this is like created just random people, mainly in Chicago, because that's where my name is. But people are literally emailing me and saying like different things like, I want to start being creative with my taxes. I
Okay,
need your help
which
with
is
that.
illegal. All right.
Yeah.
Are these your regular clients, or are these just people
No.
out of the blue?
These are now, there were a couple of non-therapist clients
All right.
that were coming at me with this, but it's mainly people looking for an accountant that's going to cheat for them.
All
Okay.
right.
So they're feeling out and all that. And like I said, I wasn't even going to do a stream about this, but then I found this one article that I think you're going to appreciate a little bit. It's a quick one. Let me just scroll down. Before I read this article, I want to get this out of the way. Clary, should a respectable tax professional ever help a client cheat? And I can't believe I have to ask
you
this
would
question.
lose your licensure.
Yes,
Yes.
for God's sake. So why would people think it's okay to email me and basically ask,
because they're scumbag Democrats who don't want to pay taxes, and everyone is just trying to be cool. Look at me, I'm the edgy Democrat. I care about people, but I don't want to pay the tax, because people are lazy sacks of shit. That's why.
That's essentially what happened. So, all right, I'll go ahead and read this quick article for us here. Let me get it up. This is from Accounting Today. It came out a week ago. This guy, Daniel Hood, I didn't look him up because this is just kind of a satire. But it says, a great time to cheat, parentheses, but please don't. I didn't want to say this before tax season ended, but my guess is that this has to be the best time in all the history of the income tax and the Internal Revenue Service to cheat on your taxes. And then he says, not that anyone should cheat, of course. They definitely shouldn't. Taxes are the price we pay for living in a civilized society. I hate that expression, by the way.
And for fat single moms to be welfare bums. Don't forget that. And regular dudes who just don't want to work. Don't forget that, too.
God bless them. Yeah.
God bless them.
But think about it. The IRS, already weakened by a decade or more of budget cuts that saw their top talent bleeding away through attrition, has lost a tenth of its workforce in just the past few months. And now that tax season is over, all the fired employees who were held over until April 15th will actually be leaving. Its leadership is in shambles, with 5 commissioners in as many months, and the confirmation hearings for the man who was supposed to take on the job full time only happening this week, as well as a number of senior leaders resigning over policy differences with the Trump administration and its Department of Government Efficiency. So it basically, the turnover's really stepped up because of all this. And I'm not going to read it. He's just like, yeah, you shouldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. Audit rates, which were already ridiculously low, can only drop as experienced staff retire or are driven out, leaving no one to train new employees, which is fine because many of those new employees were themselves driven out right at the start of the current purge. Unless you fill out your return in human blood or ask for your refund to be direct deposited to a numbered Swiss account, the likelihood of you being audited is almost negligible. Now he's like, yeah, don't cheat. Now, hypothetically, you might be worried that even though there aren't enough human staff to come after you, the IRS might be able to use technology to catch you. But all those staff cuts are hampering the agency's IT projects too, and much of the money they were supposed to get from the Inflation Reduction Act to help improve their tech has been clawed back. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Yeah, don't cheat on your taxes. It's just that—
Is he being tongue-in-cheek?
He's being tongue-in-cheek, but the problem is I'm getting emails because of crap like this.
Yeah.
And I'll close out the article here before we talk about this more. It's just that it really does seem like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to cheat. The one agency that can stop you, also the one that delivers almost all of the government's revenue, has been hobbled so comprehensively that if you were actually planning to create an environment for tax evasion, you could hardly do better. It's okay to talk about this now, of course, because tax season is over, and it's not like many of the people on extension would want to cheat, or like anyone would try to cheat on their quarterly estimates. We know Clary would never do that.
I never cheat on my— No, I don't. I don't want an audit. I don't want to be bogged down.
Yeah, I won't read the rest of this, but basically it was a satirical article that's basically saying, correctly that the IRS is absolutely hamstrung right now. I mean, it is just, this is the worst the IRS has ever been in terms of their technology, the amount of staff they have. I mean, they are just in shambles. Yes, Clary.
Would a sales tax solve this problem?
A sales tax would very much solve this problem.
We have a track record of ironically being somewhat sympathetic to the IRS because we know they got to do their job.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely for lowering taxes and I want to minimize my taxes, but I know if you don't have a defense budget or roads or judicial system, the world will go to shit. So I understand Trump wants to get rid of the corrupt people, right? I mean, we don't like these changes. We don't like Trump. Get the fuck out of here. Like FBI and remember that fat dumb chick who was in charge of the Secret Service and almost got Trump shot?
Yeah.
Fuck you, lady. I mean, so I can understand him wanting to get rid of like the lazy, worthless, and streamlining it. So I don't know if he's doing his 4D chess shit again. Like, okay, we're just going to put him on the back ropes and like, okay, we can't collect money. Democrats, you're going to work with us in simplifying the tax code. But here's just the argument, aside from morality, not to cheat on your taxes. If they replace it with a newer, more streamlined type of Doge level of efficiency, IRS, do you think these people with the actual, who are unhindered by a complex tax code and are the best in their field, and they have the technology, and they're not dicking around with a 30,000 page tax code, if they find out you cheat, in other words, in the future with a more streamlined, effective IRS, they found out you cheat, they could come back and get you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that we're going to chat about now. I want to put this, Matt Deep is absolutely correct. There's all these dumb TikTok videos. I found some of them where people are basically rubbing it in like, now's the time to cheat. Clary, I hate TikTok with the power of 1,000 suns. That like they make my life so horrible because there's all these idiots on there giving terrible tax advice,
right,
which causes emails from me, even from current clients during tax season. You're not on TikTok, are you? Do you mess with that?
I got kicked off because I cursed too much. I think it lasted a month. Yeah, it was great. I do drunk videos in bed and I just like curse and swear. And they got some traction, but yeah, I got kicked off.
So you've correctly stated there's future considerations, which I'll talk about. There's moral considerations, but I want to first start with something very practical here, which I don't think people understand. Okay. Clary, if there is a form you received, whether it's a 1099, a W-2, a brokerage statement, an interest statement, a dividend form, whatever it is, if you received it, you know who else received it?
The IRS did.
The IRS did. And yes, their computers are not amazing, but they're still they're working well enough to get caught if there's a discrepancy with paperwork.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so this TikTok advice about, oh, they'll never catch you was really, really stupid, because if something doesn't match, you are going to get caught. You're going to get a CP 2000 notice in the mail and penalties and interest. So that I wanted to get that out of the way.
This reminds me of the free money glitch. Remember the low IQ vermin of society?
It was Chase.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like just the scummiest, dumbest people in the United States thought they could do that, and then oh, surprise, you can't. It reminds me of that.
I loved how those people were recording themselves doing it. I was like, how stupid are you? For those that don't know, Chase had this glitch where they were just spitting out money from ATMs, and people were just taking it thinking there were no implications, but they got caught. So, Clary, I want to discuss something that I don't think you and I have talked about yet since the time I've been doing this, and it's about statute of limitations. Okay. With the IRS, and you may already know this, what do you think the statute of limitations is as far as when the IRS can go back and either audit you or come after you for something?
I thought they can go after 7 years of tax returns, but it can be extended to 10 if they find some sneaky bullshit. So I'm going to say 10 years.
Well, I'll read you the different one.
Okay.
It's complicated, but so By the way, John Watts, that you left the first comment when I started this stream and you said what I'm about to say. So there's a general statute of limitations, okay? The IRS has a 3-year rule that says they have 3 years from the date you filed your tax return or whenever the due date is to assess additional taxes or claim a refund. And an example is that if you filed your taxes on April 15th, 2025, the IRS generally has until April 15th, 2028 to initiate an audit for 2024. Okay, so it's 3 years from when you file. Here's the problem. People think, oh, I just have to get through the 3-year period and then I'm off the hook. I can do whatever I want. I'm home free. Don't you think that that's a little bit too simple and that there's always
it's way too simple. I'm sure there's a caveat or a backdoor or a provision that allows the IRS to go after you longer.
So it would not surprise you that there are several exceptions to the 3-year rule that can extend, or guess what, even completely eliminate the statute of limitations. And would you like to hear what these are?
I would love to. Okay.
Yeah. And for those of you who see this and want to cheat, pay attention.
By the way, let me state this again. If you pay your taxes on the very first day you can and you overpay, none of these problems are yours. Just want to point that out. But continue on, Chad. Okay.
I did a consultation with Raymond and I was laughing about how you submit your quarterlies the very first possible day.
Sleep good at night. I sleep very good at night.
So here are some exceptions. We'll start with first the extended one where it can go from 3 years to 6 years. Okay. I want you to pay particularly close attention to the vagueness of this language. Okay. If you have, quote, substantial understatement of income, that's kind of a vague term, wouldn't you say? If you have substantial understatement of your income, now they say if you underreport your gross income by more than 25%, then the statute of limitations extends to 6 years. So that has been doubled up. Okay.
Okay.
So an example is if you reported $100,000 of income, but you omitted 30,000 of it, that's 30%. So the IRS can audit you 6 years now.
What if I overstated my expenses by 25%? Would that be the same?
Overstatement of expenses can also trigger something like this.
All right.
Excessive. All right. And a big one, you know how last week we were talking about real estate professionals and all this, and this goes with traders as well. One of the big ones that they've added is overstatement of basis. Do you want to speculate what that means and why they
with real estate, you're writing off your base costs, so you don't have to pay that much on a capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They had to add this in because a lot of people were inflating the basis of their
How do you inflate the basis? You say you made a bunch of improvements and you don't save your receipts for those improvements?
If they think that you're overstating your basis and you can't substantiate it, because you do actually have to keep records of the home improvements you made and all the other things that you did to up it, because you are allowed to increase your basis by that. And again, their language is kind of vague, but if you get flagged for that and they think it's substantial understatement of basis, they now have 6 years to audit you. So we're just going over how they can extend it.
Okay.
What do you hear about how it's unlimited? And the only other one they mentioned here, which this probably won't apply to a lot of people listening, but if you fail to report over $5,000 of foreign income or assets, they can extend the audit period to 6 years. 5,000 is not that big of a number.
No, it's not. No.
Yes, those are foreign assets. So would you like to hear when there is an unlimited statute of limitations?
I would. I'm kind of curious what triggers this.
Yes, for all you people telling me that you can get away with it, listen to this. And again, the vague language. Fraudulent returns, Clary, fraudulent. They can say that almost anything is a fraudulent return, but if you have a fraudulent return that involves a failure to file, the IRS can assess taxes or claim a refund at any time, regardless of whether you did or didn't file or when the fraud level was. It can be 10 years, it can be 20 years, whatever. They can go back as long as they want to.
So should I just hold on to all my tax returns? Like I keep physical copies. No, I don't know.
In your case, no, because one, I don't believe you have a lot of foreign assets. I've never once.
Oh, this isn't like the fraudulent filing of a tax return.
Yeah, like I'm talking about if you well, I should say we, because I file your tax returns. First of all, you don't have to because I have copies of everything. And
Okay.
second, the only way you would want to go past, I mean, 3 years is fine if you want to be safe, 5 or 6 years. The only time I would say keep longer than that is if you took kind of an aggressive position. I should say we took an aggressive position that we took in good faith that we will argue to back up. Then keep everything longer just in case, they come a calling. But you're not in that situation. Almost nobody I've worked with has been in that situation. So,
okay. So my brain goes to the worst case scenario. I get a fraudulent tax return filed for whatever reason. Becky hyphenated name, bibbity boo, doesn't like me, finds my, says, I'm going to file an investigation and it's fraudulent. So now do I got to go back 7 years and grab my tax returns, which of course, yes, I know you have copies of, but shouldn't I save it anyway?
Well, if you could, if you want to. I mean, there's no harm in saving it. I'm just saying, like, I think you are at particularly low risk of this, but there's no harm in saving it. And as John Watts correctly pointed out, and I didn't want to get too in the weeds with this, but there's criminal fraud and civil fraud. Criminal fraud, we're talking Wesley Snipes, Leona Helmsley, Willie Nelson, some actors,
Joe
and
Biden, Bill Clinton.
Joe Biden,
yeah, okay, yeah.
Not that they would get prosecuted, but the long and short of it is, if you are doing something really, really fraudulent, it doesn't matter when you did it or how long it's been. They can go after you, and then it's up to you to prove your position on it. Even if it's, in some cases, it can be 25 years prior.
Okay.
So, and I'm outlining that because I want people to understand, just because you think, 3 years and I'm in the clear, no, you are still potentially at risk for criminal fraud.
Here's all I want to know is I can start throwing this shit out because it's taking like up boxes. You know how I don't like clutter.
Yes.
So like if I could just purge that and throw it away, that'd be great. All right.
Man. I've been doing your tax for almost a decade.
I know. I don't want like some obscure, shit, I threw it away. Because my dream, Chad, is to have them come in and we need your 2012 tax returns. There it is. Big pile, big old receipt, box of receipts, 2012. Let's go through it, Agent Johnson. Here we go. Let's look at this receipt.
Man, we need to get some more FBI guys. No, man. I mean, keep it for the last 6 years. And how about this? If you're ever unsure if there's something you should shred, just hit me up and I'll tell you. But you don't have to worry about it. Frankly, I don't work with anybody who has to worry about this, because if I had to, I wouldn't work with them. I'm
not kidding, because like receipt ink fades over time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure these receipts have all faded.
And the IRS knows that, so they're only really going to go after people who are doing something pretty egregious past a certain amount of time. And that's not going to be you. And the reason it's not going to be you is because it's not going to be me.
Right.
So
this is not a criticism or questioning of you. It's just,
Oh, no, I understand. These are good questions, and I want people to hear them. So, so the bottom line, here's another thing, Clary, and you actually mentioned this, probably like 10 minutes ago, but I want to ask you something. Do you really think, whether the IRS in its current form or some kind of new organization, modified or whatever, do you really think that this government organization is always going to be as crippled as they are right now?
No.
Do you really not think they're going to?
I think, no, whether a Republican is in charge and logically realizes we need an effective and efficient tax collection agency and streamlines the IRS and gives them an adequate budget and simplifies the tax code. Or the Democrats say, we hate white people and rich people and people with penises, and we want to keep the current tax code, but we're going to fund the IRS to go after you. This is about as weak as the IRS, I fathom, is going to get.
I believe we're at the down point. This is the low point of the IRS. I think they're only going to get better from here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it makes it easier for me to do my job.
Chad, would you like a simplified tax code?
Yes, I would love a simplified tax code. I don't care if I could never work in taxes again. I would do something else. I'd become a professional YouTuber like you and Raymond. No, I couldn't do that. a few bullet points, and then we'll finish this up. Like, Claire, it was only a few years ago that the Dems did that Inflation Reduction Act, which is a horrible name,
Which
for
caused
it.
more inflation. Imagine that.
It did cause more inflation, but you know what else it did? It provided $83 billion in additional funding to the IRS, along with 87,000 additional agents. That was an attempt to bolster the agency, and don't think it won't happen again. Yeah.
Did they ever get 80,000 agents? Because we did the math on that. There's not
No.
87,000 accountant majors to go around.
They did go on a bit of a hiring spree. So that 87,000, I believe, was over time. There's other guys in the chat like Matt Deep and John Watts. Maybe you guys know this more than I do. I know they hired some, but it definitely wasn't 87,000. Like they did not get that high. And that was over time. It was supposed to be.
I think we even did the math, like the number of people that major in accounting, and you'd have to assume so many people would leave their current jobs. It was like, you're not going to find these people.
So, I mean, I'm pointing that out because, look, politics is cyclical. Like the other side will be in charge in a few years, and they're going to try to do this stuff again. Do you remember that whole 1099K threshold that they lowered?
Yeah, the $600 thing. Yeah.
There's another example of my do not cheat. You know, my warning to you that this is what could happen. And I guess, Clary, I was trying to think of a way to it's your ultimate fuck around and find out situation. I don't know how else to describe it more than that. I mean, yeah, you can laugh about how it's so crippled right now, but, you know, fuck around and find out.
I got an idea that would solve everyone's problem.
Yeah.
The people who don't like paying taxes. There's this political party called the Republican Party that is for lower taxes. So if you voted them in, like just landslide every time, they would lower the taxes significantly over time. That not only would you pay lower taxes, but it would also be legal. See? But if you want to keep voting, you cannot have free shit and low taxes at the same time. It doesn't work that way. So if you want low taxes, at least stop voting Democrat. Maybe vote for the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
But there's this other party that has pretty well established lower taxes. It's called the Republican Party. But I don't want you not to be popular, ladies. I don't know what you do.
I'm a proud member of the Cynical Libertarian Society. So, Larry, I need a minute to rant here, and then we'll finish up with super chats, okay? Because this is really starting to piss me off. Listen, if you contact me and you're putting something in there that's basically, whether you're already my client or not, and you're putting something in there that essentially says, I want to cheat and I want you to help me cheat. I want creative solutions. I want to push the envelope, you know, using stupid language like that. Fuck you. Like, fuck you, because I am not going to put my professional license at risk just because you hate paying taxes. Clary, do you know anybody who likes paying taxes? I've never met a single person who likes paying taxes.
Nobody likes paying taxes. And if you don't like paying taxes, maybe vote Republican. I'm going to say, I don't know if you knew that there's this party called Daily Party. But if you don't, nobody likes paying taxes.
Nobody likes paying taxes. And look, I've dedicated my career to minimizing your taxes, but no, I'm not going to cheat for you. And if more people keep emailing me about this, I'm just going to send them a link to this YouTube, and I'm going to say, please watch the last 10 minutes.
Why would you even respond?
I could get views. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I won't respond.
Why? If someone you're like, hey, like, why even respond?
I won't. I mean, I haven't been responding to most of these because you can tell. And by the way, if you want some entertainment, go to my channel's post wall, community post. I've been getting all these people like pretending to be people needing tax help that are scammers. And I've been posting it all week so people can laugh at it. The bad grammar, the bad language.
Has Africa ever made an appearance in?
Africa and their $111,000 annual salary has not popped up again.
I wonder how he's doing.
I'm sure Africa, we found their real name. You remember that? We went on
it's his real name.
Their real, his, her, whatever their,
I think it's his name. Yeah.
That was his real name. So do not work for the Illinois Department of Revenue. But that was really all I had. And before we go over remaining super chats and close out, did you have anything else to add with this?
Not really. I'll tell you this. The tax code is way more complicated than it needs to be,
Yeah.
but is exceptionally fair. I would say even overly charitable to poor people, people with low income, people with kids. We have a very skewed progressive income tax system. The rich get fucking screwed.
Yeah.
You have no idea how good you actually have it. And if you want, go to Sweden or some other place where you will pay over half your income in taxes.
Right.
If you don't like paying taxes, then vote Republican. It's just very simple. But even me, like and Ray's going to agree with this. Chad, who has more tax advantages, 1099ers or W-2?
Oh yeah, we do 1099.
I was shocked because remember this last time because I set up the SEP IRA
Yeah.
and I made the contribution and I said, hey, did we miss something here? Because my tax rate is awfully low. It's like, nope, there are a lot of provisions for regular and self-employed people, especially with your 401k and IRA tax deductions. If you take advantage of those and HSAs, and if you happen to be self-employed, you can write off things legally.
Yes,
your tax
legally.
rate is not going to be that bad. You just have to stop buying worthless degrees, rented cars, and stupid overpriced clothing. And you should be able to make enough money that money's always going to be an issue, but it won't be as much of an issue that you're thinking about breaking the law in jail time to make just cut your spending on shit you don't need. So that's the only thing I would add to the analysis.
Exactly. And I said this last week and I'll say it again. Like, I feel like everybody has their secret to life. Mine is just turn your life into one big tax deduction. And that's what being a 1099er
Well, that's how
is.
people get in trouble though, too.
Well, not literally.
Yeah.
Just, this is how you kind of win is business expenses.
I miss Harvey. Where's Harvey? Harvey would have
Harvey was leaving comments. He really liked the show last week about people you shouldn't work with. So I want to read this one first, then we'll close up with the super chats. Was it you who did this show from Xenophone 2006? Did you hear about companies that are run by private equity?
I just did a video yesterday.
I thought I tuned in for that. Yep. What was it you were saying about that? Because I was passively listening.
There are, I gotta remember the stats. I think it's 10 or maybe even a quarter, 10% or a quarter. A sizable minority of the largest public accounting firms are either fully owned outright by private equity or are owned partially by private equity. And my whole point was that this is a further case to just not bother working W-2 in accounting or any other industry. But yeah, the private equity already accounting industry is trying to outsource to India. You don't want to work for the big four. You don't want to work public accounting because everyone's an asshole. Now the private equity's getting in on it. You triply don't want to be working long-term in public accounting for someone else. You want to get the fuck out and start your own shop. And so that's what the article in my video was about.
I really don't like this trend towards private equity. It's making me nervous.
Why would it make you nervous? They're just going to run it into the ground and people are going to get shit service and they're going to say, hey, you know what? Chad Elkins speaks English.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I just think it's great for me if there continues to be a shortage, but I just think there's going to be a situation where people aren't going to have anywhere to go, to actually get their taxes done. Like I'm saying this more like on the whole, utilitarian. Like we can't.
So the big guys collapse because everything's outsourced to foreign nations that don't speak English or English as a second language, and then you self-employed individual accountants running your own little tax practice and shop, you guys can't handle the surplus labor.
Yeah.
So surplus demand. So when there's surplus demand, what happens to wages?
So you would expect the wages would go up, but the industry has been saying that like for decades now, like, oh, well, they have to start paying us what we're worth, particularly in public accounting. And it just hasn't kept pace.
Well, no, not the W-2 normies.
Oh,
what happens to wages for 1099? Is there anyone but 1099?
I mean, there shouldn't be. We get to charge more. And I've been steadily raising my prices. And as far as I know, the people I talk to have as well.
So when there's excess demand, wages go up for the 1099ers who have their own practice in place. So a golden opportunity, one might say, is to position yourself in the future so that private equity, when they just tear up all public accounting firms, that you might be a self-employed tax accountant or bookkeeper yourself running your own company. Now, do you know of a way, a path, a very efficient path to get to that status so that when private equity continues to destroy the traditional accounting firms out there and you are a hired gun, a solo act accountant, is there a resource to teach you how to become one of these self and remotely employed, highly paid accountants in the world?
So there's this course that I know of. I have some familiarity with it. I think I know the name of it. Would you like to know the name of it?
Is it how to be a whole hum accountant living in a basement? No.
It's not.
Is
I
it?
think. Let me think. Yeah. Do you have any other guesses?
Well, if I want to have a career like that, I wouldn't want an average career in accounting. I want a great accounting career in accounting. So I think we'd start with something great.
I think what you would want is the world's greatest accounting career.
Oh my God. That's exactly what I want. Where could I go to find such a course, Chad?
It is linked below in the description for the video. Now, yes, it's an affiliate link. So I get a little piece if you use that link. But I've gotten
and who pays you that piece?
Mr. Clary over here is generous enough.
No, I'm not generous. Chad steals it from me. He steals a 25% commission from my money if you go to the link down below.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, and I have gotten some really good feedback about it. People seem to like it. It's well put together. So back to our super chats here.
Homeschool time, $2. Pace of change accelerating. Plan accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Raymond, thoughts and minds. $5. I only send my tax fraud requests via USPS, which has constitutional privacy protections.
Yeah, well. Oh, damn.
What, do we get big money paid?
We got a little sailing.
Look at some of my money, too. Look at, oh, boy.
That is really generous.
Get myself some poke bowl. Sailing Semantis, 50 generous dollars. Ex-wife finally paid out on the sale of the house I owned and built with my bare hands. Closing on 2 lots for $50,000. Going to build one, sell it after 2 years, keep the capital gains, and then build another smaller one and keep it. Semantis, when you get married again?
He's not. He's going to be sailing away on a sailboat.
Can't imagine where all the good men have. Why can't I find a guy with a house and property?
He has a channel, by the way. Did you know he's got
a
YouTube channel? Yeah.
Oh, well, promote. We should. Let me write that on my to-do list. Sailing, I'll go subscribe to him.
Super generous, Sailing Samantha's. And yeah, I'll get you on here because I definitely want to hear about how your H&R Block experience was. And I'm glad that
invite us to the next wedding.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad you're making progress with your personal life too there. So, and we got another one from him.
So $5. Well, he's got all the money. The woman finally paid. Buying a condo in the Philippines. Once I sell in the next house, I'm going to end up with foreign property, but the simple life is worth it. I'm curious how he's going to get foreign property in the Philippines, but I'm sure he has a way.
I think he should visit there. He should not take any cash. He should walk from the airport, and he should.
I don't need your criticisms.
Oh, that takes me back to the fond memories of last tax season. Oof, like tax season before last. Thank you, Sailing Semantas. And because he's into tax accounting now, he knows that when you own foreign assets as an American citizen, you have to report that, which is all you got to do. Oh, Atham's still here. I didn't realize that.
$2. Visit me. No hiking, though. Only alcohol and drugs. Well, then I'll drive you two Hanyakers. Look, I saw it would be perfect. So I'll drive you guys around, right? And then in the daytime, when you two are like sleeping till 3 p.m., I'll go for a hike, come back, we'll all get breakfast.
Hey, now, for the record, I was able to do both last time you visited.
We do have to visit them. I want to visit them sooner than later. So I got to deal with some family stuff, but let's go visit them in summer.
I'm down. Yeah. Or summer or fall. Yeah.
I can't wait to sleep on some trails.
We'll get down there again.
Lee Silver, $10. All right. Which client is trying to F up things now? Smiley face.
Yeah, these are really just people who I guess found either my channel or my webpage, and they're like, "Oh, this guy seems cool. He'll help me cheat." And that's why I just felt like I had to do a stream like this. And I believe that's everything. I just want to. Homeschool Time asked, "What is your fee to do a simple consultation?" I'm going to say, email me. You've got the link or the email address in the description, so just email me. and then we'll talk about that.
Perfect.
But that is all I got, man. Do you have anything else you want to hawk? We did the
Nope,
course.
that's it. Just the world's greatest accounting career course available at Chad's link below. That's about it. And then I'm going to torture myself with homemade pork cooking and then figure out hot tub, convertible, swingy chair, and or video games.
It'll be video games, I think. I'm going to go watch my crappy sports ball team get eliminated from the playoffs, which will be happening when?
I don't know. But I do know that you, me, and Atham should hang out
soon.